Hello, learners. Hi, how are you all? I hope you're all doing good. And so is your CA Foundation December 22 exam preparations. I have something exciting for you coming up. Before that, let me also make you remember the fact that the Mega Revision free test series is happening on Unacademy platform, which you can take complete advantage of. Coming up on 30th of September is this Mega free test revision series on mathematics and economics at 2 p.m., which you can surely attend and then also stand a chance to win a gift voucher up to rupees 500. And we all know that there are lots and lots of MCQs what you can practice on the Unacademy platform, which you can revise by clicking CA practice section. So just download the Unacademy application, head down to the practice section, and from there pick self-study tab and then click on topic of practice and then start practicing. There are about 12,000 MCQs on several topics which you can surely ensure that will let you pass on to the or move on to the next level. And there are daily scholarship tests happening on the Unacademy platform for foundation as well as intermediates. You can participate in that as well. You can take a plus subscription to join us in this journey of CA Foundation and let us help you in clearing the CA Foundation examination. Taking our plus subscription will give you advantages of live interactive classes, recorded backup of all the classes being available, structured courses and PDFs to you, and then live tests and quizzes at regular intervals, open houses from all the faculties, digital notes. You get to be part of an academy community and also unlimited access to all these features I just mentioned. You can take iconic subscription, which is plus benefits plus few other benefits. What additional benefits do you get if you take up iconic subscription? That's your question. The answer is you get one-to-one live mentorship, printed study material coming to your doorstep. Along with this, you also have doubt solving sessions to help you understand all the problems that is actually troubling you or solve all the doubts that's coming across in your mind. And to take a plus subscription, all you'd have to do is pay 25,500 to get 24 months subscription, and 22,500 will give you 18 months subscription, 18,800 for 12 months, 14,500 for 6 months, 11,500 will give you 3-month subscription. You can take up iconic subscription, and this would cost you 43,900 for 24 months, 38,500 for 18 months, 31,500 for 12 months, and 23,500 rupees for 6 months. And right now, what's running is an amazing offer on the Unacademy platform, which will let you avail discount up to 20%. All this is possible by using the code YESHAS, which is YESHAS. Use this code while taking up CA Foundation subscription, also CA Intermediate. You get 20% off there as well. And this discount is available till 30th of September. So what are you waiting for? Take up your Unacademy subscription now and avail 20% off, and let us help you in this journey of chartered accountancy. Going ahead, it was a request from the student community that sir, please solve a question which is of NPO with maximum adjustments possible. In the quest of this is when I found this beautiful question from our ICA material. This question number 8 from ICA material is also there in our issues material. So this question is a very interesting one because this doesn't just have usual subscription adjustment and several other expense income adjustments, but this question from NPO also has an adjustment which is similar to our BRS. This is because of the reason that the question includes bank balance as per passbook and not balance as per cash book. So in this video, I'm going to solve this question number 8 from our ICI material, or you can say question number 15 from our classroom material. So this is the question of EXE club on NPO, which I'll be solving. I'll also coming up very shortly with another video of illustration number 17 in our class material, Diana club, which is again similar to this one. If in case you have requirement of any other question to be solved, to be explained again, to be explained in depth or differently, you know what to do. Go down to the comment section and then drop in a comment saying that I would want you to solve this question or I want you to help me with this topic, and know what's happening after that. I'll definitely come back with another video and help you all with that specific topic. So what are you waiting for? Use the power of asking and enjoy the benefit of getting it. Yeah, come on, let's start reading this question. So the following was a receipts and payments account of EXE club. So they've given us the receipts and payment account, which is here. And what do they want us? Let's not waste time reading the receipts and payment first. Let's immediately go down to the end of the question and understand what is it that they want us to do. So for the year ended increase, they want us to prepare income and expenditure account as well as balance sheet. So in this question, what you are preparing is income and expenditure account and balance sheet. So let's prepare income and expenditure account and balance sheet for this problem, shall we? But before we go ahead, let's quickly run through the adjustments. Make a small marking next to the items in receipts and payment, because this will help us understand that this item has an adjustment and we'll be using it wisely in our income and expenditure balance. Maybe we'll put it in the inner column, or if it has complex adjustments, we'll write down ledger to solve this particular adjustment. Shall we run through the adjustments now? To start with, we have in the beginning subscription due. Okay, so subscription due is an item which would require a ledger account. So let's see on the receipt side, do we have subscription due here? Yes, we do. Here donations and subscriptions. So I will prepare a ledger account for subscription. And after that I have amount due for printing. So printing and stationery has some adjustment. So we have printing and office expense in payment here. I will put a star here, and I'll also go down to prepare a ledger account on this side. Then we have checks unpresented being payment for repairs. This would not affect our repair expenditure, but we'd have to be adjusting our current account here in the passbook, as well as current account here. That is a passbook balance, both opening and closing. We'll be adjusting both of this opening and closing passbook balances. Got it? Then what else do we have after that? There is interest not yet entered in passbook. So we are going to adjust our interest receipt is there. You have interest, bank interest receipt. So the first place of adjustment will be here. And nextly we're going to write it as interest income. Interest income will get adjusted here. We'll write that 20 rupees as accrued income asset. We'll write it as an asset and then close the same. Got it, guys? Fine. Let's see what other adjustment do we have after. Bonus to groundsman outstanding. Do we have any payments? This is groundsman fee. What I would say is let's treat groundsman fee separately and groundsman bonus separately. If you want, we can club them and then write it together. But we can write them separately. It will be easier. So I'm not going to mark any adjustment for that. Then honorarium to secretary and treasurer as an adjustment. It is increased by 200. Oh, this is an important item. Stay cautious with this word by. If you say increased to 200, it will be quite different than increased by 200. So do we have any payment here? Okay, this is paid with regard to last year 2019's payment. It is 400. So current year may we increase it by 200. So current year honorarium expenditure becomes 600 and none of it is paid. Entire 400 paid is of last year. So this 400 has to be adjusted in previous year in competition of capital fund as well. That's it. So there we go. We have all the adjustments done. And though they've asked us to prepare income and expenditure and balance sheet only, we might have to prepare balance sheet for the opening date. That is 1st of April 2019. We have to prepare one for 1st of April 2019 because they have not provided us with any information with regard to the opening balance sheet. So why wait? Why delay? Let's get started with solution to illustration number 8, or as per our metal, it's illustration number 50. So income and expenditure account is prepared for 31st of March 2020. Balance sheet is prepared as on 31st of March 2020, and the opening balance sheet will be on 1st of April 2019. And then we would have to open few ledgers also, the items that I just marked saying that these have to be adjusted. So let's get started. So we're going to go in the flow of the question. We'll read the question little and write the answer little. So question decides the flow of our answer. In the order of the question is how we'll read it and then solve it. To start with, we have cash in hand. This cash in hand is an asset, but it is on the opening date. So I'll write in my opening balance sheet on the asset side cash in hand 100. So come to our, this is closing balance sheet. This is our opening balance sheet. In my opening balance sheet, I am going to write cash in hand. How much is this? This is of rupees 100. What do we have after that? Balance as per passbook. Let's write deposit account 2230. But current account has an adjustment. So this current account 600 I would write in inner column. You can either do a separate working mode, but the adjustment is with regard to only one item. So I'll write in inner column and then bank balance. Deposit account is 2230. That doesn't have any adjustment. I'll post it to the outer column. Whereas current account balance is 600 rupees, which would stay in our inner column. Balance as per passbook is 600. Yeah, this needs to be adjusted so that we can find the balance as per cash book, and such balance as per cash book will be posted to outer column. Got that, everyone? I hope you all did. Chalo, let's get going. What do we have after that? We have bank interest of rupees 30. This bank interest of our 30 is income which we are going to write in our income and expenditure on the credit. Bank interest, and this bank interest I am going to write in the inner column as 30. Why? Later we have some accumulated interest not received or interest not recorded in passbook 20. So we would have to record that 20. You can say right now let me add the 20 here sir income and write it as I said. No, it's very important to wait for the problem to tell it and then don't do it. You might be aware, but don't jump from the middle of the problem to the end of the problem. If you jump from the middle of the problem to the end of the problem, you do this, but when you come back, there is a very good possibility that you might forget where did you stop. So always go with the flow of the problem and don't jump. It's like this. Knowing it is good, not showing it. It's okay. On the engagement, you know what is to be done next, but wait till the wedding date. Don't go to tie those three knots on the engagement date. Engagement date only ring exchange. Just do that. Wait till your date. On that date, you do what's supposed to be done. If you do everything, know what will you do on the date when it is supposed to be done. That day, like sit quiet and like. I hope you understood what I'm trying. Chalo. So next is donations and subscriptions. Donations and subscriptions as adjustment. So we can't really handle it with just inner column item. So I'll write the heading here, donations and subscriptions. But I'm not going to write the amount right now here. I'll open a separate ledger. What ledger? Subscription account. What is it? It is our subscription account. If you observe, in my receipts and payment account, it is two donation and subscription. It's on the debit side. No? Two, basically. Two donation and subscription. So in my subscription account, can I write buy receipts and payment? Can I think that's the right one. I'll write buy receipts and payment. How much is the amount received? 2600 is what is received. You have received 2600. You get that? So this is income received during the year, but it doesn't just belong to current year. There might be part of this 2600 which belongs to previous year, or part of this 2600 might belong to next year. We are not going to adjust for 2600 and we're not going to straight away take 2600 as our current year income. We'll first adjust it and then identify how much of it belongs to previous year, how much of it belongs to next year, and only after this we'll figure out as to how much is the item that belongs to current year and then transfer it to income and expenditure. Got that? Great. So 2600 is our current year receipt. What do we have after that? Receipts from T's 300. Now, with regard to this item, whenever it is receipts from T, there are two point of views. First point of view is people believe like receipt from T is not income. You need to deduct the cost of T's and only then it is income. So I'll write in my income side inner column, deduct my expense or cost on T's and then write the net income only in the outer column. That's the first kind of handling this situation. The second way is I'll write this entire receipt from T's on the income outer column, and whatever the cost of T's exists, I'll write that on the expenditure side. So two different items, two different sides, and later net impact will however come on surplus or deficit. Which one of these is right? Both of them are right. Sir, if we do the later method, will I lose marks? Hey, lose how? No way. You will not lose marks that way. You will fully get marks irrespective of which approach do you follow. Now the question is, sir, which one do I follow? See, to me it is very easy because I would have done this problem before, or even if not, I'm using Excel sheet. I can delete it, I can insert any line, push it down, push it up, or backspace and then correct it any given day. So I can do it like write it in the inner column and then hit off. But to you it might not be possible because you write on paper and you will be doing this for the first time in your life, and even definitely in the exam also most of the times it will be a very new question. So you would not know if there is an expense associated with this or not. So if you already written it in the outer column, you might get frustrated. That's a very good possibility. So that should not put your morale down or make you start feeling low in the exam. So let me tell you, it is totally okay. In fact, I would personally recommend you to write receipts as income, expense, cost as expense separately. Don't try to net it off. Because of another reason that Now receipts is 300. Now I have a look. Payment statement, do you have cost of this? Yes, it is 250. If it is such that receipts is 300, cost is 250, you need to write receipts income side 50 rupees. On the other side, if the receipts was 350 and if the receipts was 300 and then costs was 350, then 50 was supposed to come on expenditure side. Now it's very nice. We can still discuss, deduct and then write. But exam mein, in that pressure situation when you're writing the examination, among that anxiousness and tenseness, you might not be able to figure this out. So let's not take that risk. Let's not expect so much from ourselves. Let's keep it simple. Write this 300 as income. Write the 250 as expense. And the advantage of doing this is you can only concentrate on 300. You need not be worried if there is another item or not. Or you need not read the problem two times. See, if you want to write the net, you'll read this and then try to read everything. If it's there, if it's, you'll find, it's there. See, by doing this, you'll waste time. Because at a CA foundation level, examination question paper will be about 15 to 16 pages. If you end up reading the question paper once, you'd spend 15 to 16 minutes. If you end up reading the question paper twice, you would spend 30 minutes reading the paper. Just in case if you don't understand second time and if you read it thrice, that's like technically reading the paper thrice, meaning 45 minutes of your 3 hours is going in reading paper. So it's very important to be wise enough to save time and use the question paper read the question paper smartly rather than again and again. I hope you got this and I hope you'll appreciate. So conclusion. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ what I'm trying to tell you is what I'm trying to tell you at the end is receipts from the T, write it as income. Cost from the T, write it as expense. You got it? So receipts from T is how much? 300. Let me write it as income. In my income and expenditure, I'll leave little space for donation. I'll write it later. Yeah. So how much is receipts from T? Receipts from T is 300 and it's here. Then we have contribution to fairs. Fair means jatre. So people have contributed to fair. That's again our income. There is no adjustment. So whatever is received is income. If there is no adjustment, whatever is received is income. Whatever paid is expense. Current year. If there is no outstanding, prepaid, pre-received, if it's not there, receipt is income, payment is expense. Wow, it's a beautiful concept. But life will not be so simple every day. There is sale of equipment 80. This, my friends, is selling price received. This 80 rupees here is selling price received. So we cannot write this 80 rupees as income in receipts, income in income and expenditure. We'll open one machinery and equipment account, and in that machinery equipment, I'll write buy receipts and payment 80 because this is sale of equipment. In receipts and payment, if you return two equipment, in equipment account, you should write buy receipts and payment. Shall I write that? Yeah, I hope you would accept me writing that. See, here we have equipment account. Because in receipts and payment we have written two equipment. In equipment account, I'll write buy receipts and payment. That is for sale of equipment, and this is 80, and I've written 80. Net proceeds from variety entertainment. You provide variety entertainment and you receive money from that. If there is no adjustment, this entire proceeds from variety entertainment is our current year income. I'll write in income and expenditure credit 780. Let me write that in our income and expenditure. In our income and expenditure on the credit, I'll write buy proceeds from entertainment 780. I could have written variety, but I don't have enough space. Sir, can I also in the exam write proceeds from entertainment and not proceeds from variety entertainment? Ah, you can. Sir, will I lose marks? How many times do I say? Loser. 780 done. Then donation for forthcoming tournament. There's a tournament coming up, and in the against that tournament there is some expense. Okay. So this majority of them do a mistake here. So mark this. This is important. Even when you're revising this, when you're doing this problem on your own, you might end up doing something wrong here. Let me not put a star. Star means you might think that is adjusted. Yeah. So what is so tricky about this? You would say, sir, donation is received. Either open donation account or take this to income and expenditure. Firstly, this is not a part of our normal donations and subscription. This is not general donation. So this should not be taken to donation and subscription account. There is no other adjustment written against this. So majority of them say simple, sir, take it to income. Is not. Why? The tournament has not happened in the current year. It is a forthcoming tournament, meaning it's going to be a tournament that will happen in the future. If it is against a tournament that's supposed to happen in the future, such entire money that is right now received but belongs to a future tournament is our future income and not current year income. So the year in which this tournament will be conducted, the year in which this tournament will be conducted, that is the year in which it will be recognized to income and expenditure. So as of date, we cannot transfer this money to our income and expense. We will keep this money in our balance sheet as a liability in the current year. If in the next year we are conducting this tournament, in the next year we transfer it from the balance sheet liability to income and expenditure income side. This is like pre-received income, but you can't call it income because it is a contribution received as a donation for the purpose of expenditure to be incurred in the next tournament. I hope you all understood this. Chalo, let me write in the closing balance sheet 1000 rupees donation for the forthcoming tournament. So this is our closing balance sheet and I would write it here. Oh, was it received in the, this is the opening balance sheet. Here we go. There we have the closing. Oh, sorry guys, sorry guys. I just got closed. Donation for forthcoming tournament. That is 1000 rupees. Everyone understood this? So be cautious with this part because there is a very good possibility that you by mistake take this donation for forthcoming tournament to income and expenditure income and not consider it as liability. So let's not do that mistake. Now let's go to payment side. So on the payment side we have groundsman fee. There is no other adjustment. So let's take this groundsman fee as our expense. How much is it? It is of rupees 750. So let's write 750 as our expense. On the expense, we have groundsman fee 750. There is bonus to groundsman, but we have decided not to club it with this. We'll write it separate. Then we have moving machine 1500. Moving machine of rupees 1500. So you bought a machine, maybe like something like a lawn mower or to move some objects or whatever. We don't know the kind of club exe is. So don't open a separate account, but write this in our equipment account. Hey, firstly, it's not expense. You bought a machine, you purchased it, it's an asset purchase. So we'll write this in our asset side of balance sheet, but we already have one account open called as equipment account. So this would go there. So in our receipts and payment, we have written as buy moving machine. So in that machine and equipment account, I'll write two receipts and payments, 1500. Come on, let me take you to our equipment account. In our equipment account, we'll have opening balance, which I don't know right now, but later when I get to know, I will write. And now I'll write two receipts and payment. This is purchase of moving machine. How much did you purchase moving machine for? 1005. Yeah. So there is some sale of equipment for 80. We'll adjust that and then we'll adjust depreciation and find the closing balance. Or if they give the closing balance, we'll find depreciation as balancing figure. Or if they've given both depreciation and closing balance, we end up finding opening balance of equipment as balancing figure. Either ways, let's wait and see as to where will the question take us. For now, receipts and payment purchase of moving machine 1500. What do we have after that? Rent of ground 250. There's no adjustment, so entire rent of the ground is our expense. So in our income and expenditure, on the expenditure side, I'll write rent of ground 250. I hope there's no doubt so far. And everything is clear. So what do we have after that? We have cost of teas 250 rupees. This cost of teas 250 rupees, whatever is there, we would take this cost of teas 250 to our income and expenditure side. We could have written it as a net from our receipts from teas, but however we'll take it as expense now. So shall I take cost of teas 250 to the expenditure side? Yes, I will. Cost of teas 250 rupees on the expenditure side. Everyone got this? Next, we have fares. It should have been deducted from contribution to fares, but we've decided to not write the net amount and take it separately. So I'll take this fares of 400 on the expenditure side. Two fares 400. Then we have printing and office expenses. On a usual day without any adjustment, this printing and office expenses would have smoothly moved from payment side of receipts and payment to expenditure side of income and expenditure. But not on this day because we have adjustment on printing and office expenses. So you take this 280 from payment side to another separate ledger called printing and office expense. And in that ledger, let us find out how much is the current year expense and then bring it to income. So all that I am going to do right now is take this printing and expense from payment side to another separate ledger. Which ledger? We need to open a ledger called printing and office expense. Yeah, here we have printing and office expense. In receipts and payment, I have written by printing and office expense. So in printing and office expense, I would have to write two receipts and payment. Shall I write two receipts and payment? How much is the amount? Here it is 280. So here I'll write 280. I hope you guys understood this. What do we have after this 280? Then we have repairs to equipment 500. When there is repairs to equipment 500 rupees. This 500 rupees what is incurred. There is no other adjustment. So I would straight away write it in my income and expenditure account as expense. Can I? But is there any adjustment repairs? I think there is. That one outstanding check is there, no? Yeah, what I say, checks outstanding for repairs. So there is adjustment. There is adjustments. We'll write it in the inner column. We'll read in the inner column because I just remembered that it is there. I forgot to read. Sorry. So we have to write printing and office expenses. We don't know the amount. When we figure it out, let's write it when we close that ledger. Right now, let's write repairs to equipment. This also has adjustment. There is that outstanding checks what needs to be adjusted. Let us do that. For now, I'll write the amount in the inner column, which is 500 rupees. Sir, what exactly would be the adjustments for this repair to equipment? Let me tell you what would be the adjustment for this 500. It's very simple. 500 is the amount paid and the check is cleared. There are checks issued but not cleared, opening as well as closing. The checks which are issued but not cleared on the opening date, these are previous year's expenses which got cleared in the current year. So payment is in the current year but it belongs to previous year. So you deduct that from 500. And the closing unpresented checks are the payments made during the year, which is like current year expense. So it is not basically reflecting because the checks are not presented and we've taken balance as per passbook. You should be actually taking balance as per cash book. So I would take that closing balance and then add. So basically we'll treat it like closing outstanding and opening outstanding. Add that closing outstanding, deduct that opening outstanding. As simple as. Yeah. And without forgetting that both opening and closing balances of current account in our opening and closing balance sheets needs to be adjusted for that unpresented check. Got it? Great. Repairs to equipment 500 done. Then we have honorarium to secretary and treasurer 400. This has adjustment. So we're going to go open a ledger. Let's open honorarium to secretary ledger. It's going to be a separate ledger that we're opening. And in our receipts and payment account, we have written by honorarium to secretary. So in our honorarium to secretary account, I should write two. What should I write? Two income and expenditure. Sorry, two receipts and payment. Am I right? Two receipts and payment. How much is the amount? 400. Payment is 400. So honorarium to cash, that is basically replaced with receipts and payment 400 rupees. What do we have after that? Then we have balance as per passbook. Let's write this. Deposit account, no problem. Deposit account, passbook, cash book, both will be same. However, current account we would have to adjust for that unpresented checks. Let's do that. Balance at bank as per passbook. Let's write that. Balance at bank as per passbook. Two places it will come. Balance sheet. It will come only in balance sheet. Receipts and payment is already prepared. So bank balance. Bank balance as per passbook. Firstly, deposit account. Deposit account is 3090. No problem whatsoever. Then we have current account. Balance is as per passbook, which is 150. We'll later adjust this for our unpresented checks and then identify our balance as per cash. So right now, just keep it in the inner column. Please. So these two are done. And lastly, we have cash in hand of 250. I'll write that cash in hand of 250 also here. It is asset basically, cash in hand. So it will come in the balance sheet asset side. Yay, we're done with receipts and payment. So now we'll move on to this opening and closing balances and adjust this one last item with regard to our secretary and treasury, and we'll be done with the problem. So can we start with opening and closing balances now? I hope you're all ready. Chalo, let's get going, and we'll now start with what exactly needs to be written as opening and closing balances in our ledgers. To start with, we have subscription due, which is 150 opening and 100 closing. So in our subscription account, subscription due is income earned but not received. Any income earned but not received is an asset having debit balance. So we'll write this opening 150 on the debit side, closing 100 on the credit side in our subscription account. And these balance have to be also posted to balance sheets. 150 in the opening balance sheet, 100 in the closing balance. Shall we write them now? Chalo, let me take you all to subscription account. As I just mentioned, it is an asset, subscription due, opening balance on the asset side, opening subscription due. How much is that? 150 rupees. And the closing balance, I would write it on the credit side of subscription account by balance carried down, closing subscription due. This is rupees 100. Without forgetting and before going to the next adjustment, post these items to the balance sheet first. So I'll write this 150 in the balance sheet. In the opening balance sheet, I will write subscription due 150, and in my closing balance sheet, that is as on 31st of March 2020, I'll write subscription due 100. That is what is given in the question. So now let's go to the next item, amount due for printing. Amount due for printing is liability. You have taken the benefit of printing, but you haven't paid them the money. So this printing money not yet paid is a liability, and such liability opening balance is 100, closing balance is 80, liability opening balance on the credit, closing balance on the debit. But I have to write this at two places. One, I'm going to open a printing account, write 100 rupees on the credit, 80 rupees on the debit. And the second place, I'm going to write this 180 as liabilities in my opening and closing balance sheet. Obviously, 100 rupees in the opening balance sheet as liability and 80 rupees in the closing balance sheet as liability. Shall I post them? Chalo, let me post it. There we have printing and office expense account, opening balance. This is opening outstanding, and the amount opening outstanding is 100. And let me write the closing outstanding money. Balance carried down, closing outstanding is 80. I've written this 180. Let me write this in the balance sheet now. And in our balance sheet, I'll write printing money due for printing. Opening balance sheet 100, that is as on 1/4/19, and in the balance sheet as on 31st of March 2020, due for printing is 80. So 80 closing liability, 100 opening liability, 180 in our printing and office expense opening and closing. We're done with the second item. Next, checks unpresented being payment for repairs. These checks are unpresented. Now, if you see this from the perspective of repairs, 300 rupees which is paid in the last year and belongs to last year is carried down to current year as payment. It is okay, it is paid in the current year, but it is not current year expense. So from the payment that we made in the current year, if I deduct this 300, that is when I'm going to figure out what is my current year expense. But before I close it and then post the amount outer column, 260 rupees is coming. Hey, I also belong to current year, but I have not been paid. Please don't leave me and go. Include me. So we'll include this. So what do? We're going to take the current year payment. From that, deduct this 300 rupees and then add this 260 to find the current year expenditure made with regard to payments. I hope you all understood. Now let me take these figures from here and then put it into our answer. Come into our answer sheet here. So we have here in the income and expenditure side, repairs to equipment 500. Out of the 500 rupees payment made in the current year, 300 is a check given in the last year, but it has become as a payment in the current year, and it doesn't belong to current year. It is not current year expense also. Opening checks unpresented, I am going to deduct 300. But certain repair expenditure incurred in the current year, against which check is also issued in the current year, got presented to bank in the next year. Sir, but it's okay. We write entry in the cash book when we issue check. Yes, but we have written balances per passbook here under 1A. So we have not written check entry. So we should write it now. Get that? So this repair equipment payment of 500 doesn't include that unpresented checks closing of 260. So what do? We'll include it by adding 260. So 500 minus 300 plus 260. That will give us 460 rupees as our current year expense. Done. Is this final? No, not yet. This 300 and 200 are supposed to be accounted in the current period. You get that? But they have not accounted. What is the reason? It means 300 should have accounted in the last year. 260 should have accounted in the current year. They have accounted 300 in the current year and 260 is not accounted. Why? We have considered balance as per passbook or not balance as per cash book. So let's change it. Here we have the closing balance sheet. So we have balance as per passbook 150. But this 150 is before making payment of 260. Now we would make this payment of 260 in the current year only. It is unpresented, but it is a timing difference, not a non-timing difference. In the cash book, there would be payment entry for this 260. So we should deduct. But the problem now is 150 rupees, say when I deduct 260, you will get minus 110. You cannot write minus 110 on the asset side. So what do? I'll write it on the liability side. 110. What would this be? Bank overdraft. Current account, there is overdraft balance. Get that? So we adjusted this 260. Similarly, this opening check unpresented of 300 needs to be adjusted from the previous year's balance sheet. Let's come down to previous year, and here in the balance sheet as on 1st of April 2019, we have done balance as per passbook 600. From this, I would deduct unpresented checks, checks which are presented in the previous year, for which the expense is incurred in the previous year, benefit is taken in the previous year. The entry is not made because we took passbook balance and not cash book balance. So to move from passbook balance to cash book balance, I need to enter this payment. How much? 260 is that 300. Once you deduct 300, current account balance will become 3. Tada! This is the item requiring adjustment. Once you adjust this, you got it. So this is the only tricky part in the entire problem. If you understand this tricky part, you understood the problem, and no part of the problem you will find any different. So all other questions from NPO plus this adjustment from this problem will give you complete, proper, comprehensive understanding of this topic, and any question from the topic in the examination you'll be definitely able to solve in the exam. Got it, guys? So this is how you adjust this BRS part. So entire question was running around NPO plus BRS. So this is the part. So if in case you want to watch only crux of this video, one of you can drop a timestamp. So this last 5 minutes part of the question is what you would have to be watching to understand the crux of the entire problem, or the main heart of the problem, or whatever you call as the most tricky part of the problem. So let's finish the problem. Let's hit the last nail on the coffin and then close this problem now. So then we have estimated value of machinery and equipment, which is 800 opening and 1750 closing. So this would come at two places. One, we would write this 800 and 750 in our opening and closing balance sheet, and nextly we would write both of this in our equipment account as opening and closing balances as well. Shall we write this? Come on. In my equipment account, opening balance I would write it as 800, and in my equipment account I'd write my closing balance as 1007. I'd post it to the balance sheet as well. This is our opening balance sheet as on 1st of April 2019. Here I'll write machinery and equipment 800, and in our closing balance sheet I'll write machinery and equipment 1750. 800 and 750 I posted to two places. Sir, why did you open equipment account? Because there is purchase of equipment, and we would have to be also identifying the depreciation on the equipment. Yes, so to identify the depreciation, we open this separate ledger. On the verge of closing that ledger we are, and when we close that ledger, we will be able to identify the depreciation. Here, guys, what do we have after that? What we have after that is interest not yet entered in passbook. This interest which is not yet entered in the passbook needs to be accounted. So let's do this. This interest not yet entered in passbook. Interest not yet entered in passbook is our income, and we've already written bank interest of 30. To this 30, I will add further 20, making it 50. Making it 50. And this 20, whatever is there, is our asset. So in my balance sheet, on the asset side, I'll write interest due 20. I would write interest due 20. Got it, everyone? Great. What else? Last one. Bonus to groundsman outstanding. Opening is 0. Closing is 300. So 300 rupees current year expense is not paid. If you want to open, you can open one groundsman bonus account. But it's very easy. 300 rupees is outstanding. So it's a liability. Liability closing balance on the debit side. I will write here to balance carried down. Closing outstanding 300. This would also be written in our balance sheet. Closing balance sheet. This is balance sheet as on 31st of March. As a liability, groundsman bonus due 300. Get it? Groundsman bonus due 300, and this groundsman's bonus due 300 is coming from our bonus due account. Now this ledger closing will be basically, it is current year expense. We'll write by income and expenditure account on the credit and then write it to our income and expenditure account, but we'll do that later. We'll finish off all other items and then go to that. Then we have for the year ended 31st of March 2020, the honorarium to the secretary and treasurer are to be increased by 200. So whatever is last year's honorarium, that is to be increased by 200. If last year it is 100, current year it becomes 300. If last year it is 200, current year it becomes 400. If last year it is 300, in the current year we'll take it up to 5. So we need to increase it by 200 in the current year. Will we do that? Okay. So how much is it in the last year? We have honorarium to secretary account. Last year's is 400, which we paid in the current year. So they've told last year's payment is made in the current year. It was told to us here somewhere, it was there 2019. So this entire money is our opening outstanding. I'll write 400 here as opening outstanding. Last year's 400 was outstanding as a liability which is paid. Liability opening balance on the credit. So this I'll write it in my balance sheet. Opening balance sheet. On the liability side, I'll write here, what is it? Outstanding honorarium to secretary and treasurer 400. Now in the current year, we're increasing this by 200. When we increase it by 200, it becomes 600. 600 is our current year expense and 600 is the amount outstanding. Why is it outstanding? Because it is not paid. We'll write here by income and expenditure. Last year's 400 plus 200, totally 600 is the expense, and entire 600 is outstanding 600. This ledger is closed. So this 600 current year expense, I write in my income and expenditure account as expense, and this balance carried on closing outstanding of 600, I'll write in my closing balance sheet as liability. Will I write that? Come on. Let's go to our closing balance sheet. This is balance sheet as on 31st of March 2020. Here I would write outstanding honorarium to 600, secretary 600, and in my income and expenditure on the expenses I will write to honorarium to secretary 600. By this we are done with all the adjustments of this question. All we need to do now is close all the ledger accounts, identify the items, post them to respective places in income and expenditure and balance sheet, and close our balance sheet and see it. Come on, let's do that. So we'll not touch opening balance sheet, closing balance sheet, or income and expenditure first. Let's close ledgers. Come to subscription account. So 150 previous year's outstanding, 2600 received during the year, 100 is still outstanding. So I can take the total and then identify the income for them. No pre-received for opening or closing. So total is higher on the credit side, obviously 2700. I'll write same 2700 here on the debit. Then I'll find the balancing figure, that is income and expenditure, income earned during the year, subscription due for the year, that is 2550. How did we get this? 2700 minus 150. This 2550 is our balancing, and this 2550 whatever is here, I'll post it to my income and expenditure on the credit, that is income side, as by subscription and donation. Let me write here in our income and expenditure account On the income side, here we have by donation and subscription. I'll write here 2550. Got it? Great. So by this our subscription account is closed. Let's go to the next item. We have equipment account. Equipment is an asset with an opening balance of 800 and there is purchase of 1500. So basically it should be 2300. You sold it for 80. And the closing balance is 1000. So what is the balancing figure? It will be either profit or loss on sale and or depreciation 470. Total profit, either it is profit or loss on sale or it is depreciation. However, it should go to income and expenditure all by itself. So I would write by income and expenditure 470. And this amount, let me post it to my income and expenditure on the debit side, that is expense. Shall I? I'll write there on the debit as expense. Here, let me write to machinery and equipment depreciation 470. Everyone clear? What do we have after this? Oh, sorry. Why did I go to the question? I only would have to go to the next ledger. So this is closed. This ledger is closed. 2300, 2300. Come to printing and office expense account. So the amount outstanding in the beginning is 100. You have paid 280, still 80 is outstanding. So 360 minus 100, 260 rupees is the current year expense. I'll take 360 here. Then I'll write here by income and expenditure 260. 260 rupees is the current year expense. There is opening balance outstanding of 100, current year expense of 260. Together it is 360, out of which 280 rupees is paid and 80 rupees is still outstanding. Let me now write this 260 to our expense side in our income and expenditure account. Shall I? In our income and expenditure account, on the debit, I'll write here printing and office expenses, which is already there. I'll write 260 rupees. Everyone got this? Great. By this, I'm just done with my printing and expense account. Next, I'm going to close my honorarium to secretary account. Honorarium to secretary account. Opening balance is 400. Income and expenditure for the current year is 600. Oh, this is already closed. Sorry, we already posted it. Crownsman bonus 300 rupees is closing outstanding. It is not paid, so it is current year expense. Current year expense and it is not paid. Income and expenditure 300 is the balancing. I'll write this in the income and expenditure as expense, that is on the debit 300. That's it. Tada, we're done with this problem. This is our income and expenditure account. I'll write 2 bonus to groundsman 300. Come on, let's close this. Let's take the total of the items here on the credit or income side. 50 plus 2550 plus 300 plus 100 plus 780. This will give us 3780. I'll put that 3780 here and then deduct 300, 470, 600, 460, 260, 400, 250, 250 and 750. By deducting which I would be able to identify excess of income over expense, balance and figure, that is our surplus for the, which would definitely come down to 40. And I'll write this 40 to my balance sheet, closing balance sheet as an addition to capital fund. So this is our balance sheet as on 31st of March 20. I would have to write capital fund and add this surplus to the capital fund to the extent of. But point is, I don't know how much is my capital fund. How do I find how much is my capital fund? Very simple. We have kept open our previous year's balance sheet or current year's opening balance sheet. We'll total that balance sheet and then in that balance sheet we'll find the balancing figure. That will be capital fund, which will be posted from our opening balance sheet. Come down here. We have your balance sheet as on 1st of April 2019. So what is the total? 800 plus 100, 900 plus 2230 plus 300 plus 150. This will give us 3580. I'll write 3580 here and then deduct 500 from the same. That will be our capital fund 3080. And this 3080, whatever is there, I would write it here in the inner column 3080 and I would add 40 surplus to this to arrive at 3120 as my capital fund in the closing balance. Everything is done, every ledger is closed, income and expenditure account is closed, surplus is found, opening balance sheet is closed, capital fund is found, everything is put into our closing balance sheet. All we need to do is close our closing balance sheet. We'll do that. 1750 plus 3090 plus 250 plus 100 plus 20 will give us 5210 on the asset side. On the liability side, if we do 3120 plus 1000 plus 80 plus 110 plus 600 plus 300, I would again be finding the total to come down to 5210 and our balance sheet will tally. This is the answer, guys. I will show each of it for a small brief moment of 10 seconds so that you will be able to take a screenshot or copy, or if in case, do drop in a message in the comment section or find me on Telegram, search for me CA Rajavardhan or accounts man, and you'll find the link to this complete Excel sheet having solution to all the questions of NPO, yeah, in the detailed form with working. But however, I would take this small moment to show each of the item like income and expenditure for about 20-30 seconds, balance sheet for 20-30 seconds, and each of the ledger so that you can take a screenshot or a copy if you want. I hope you've taken a screenshot or copied this income and expenditure. I'll show the balance sheet. If you want, you can pause the video for a moment and then copy. I'll just give you a brief 10-second time. Yes, I hope you have. This is our balance sheet. Done. Working note number 1. This is our opening balance sheet. And then we have our subscription account. After that comes equipment account and printing and office expenses account. I'll show both in a single screen. Both of these small teeny tiny ledgers. But what we have after that is our honorarium to secretary and groundsman bonus, which is the last two ledgers. Great, guys. That's it. I hope it was nice and I hope you really understood what was discussed in this. Remember to use the power of asking. If there is any other topic from CA Foundation, Principles and Practice of Accounting, any other question, any other topic, any other concept that's bothering you, just a message away. Please do get in touch and let me know so that I can come out the video on that and help you all understand the topic better, because the intention is pretty clear. I want you all in CA Inter and not in CA Foundation at all. That's it. Remember, life is not a battle to be struggling, it's a game to be enjoyed. Till the time you're learning something new or having fun, it's all good. The day you guys either stop learning something or stop having fun, Trust me, you might start struggling because you might be in a battle. So thumb rule to stay happy is pretty simple. It is to stay in the game. So for one last time on this day, I have just one simple question for all of you. Are we in the game? I hope the answer is yes, we are in the game. See you all in one more video on NPO plus BRS. Till then, tata, bye bye, take care and get lost.